Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday after the full moon. Anybody else feeling that energy just just tanking down? Um, it was interesting. I've been talking with a friend about the moon and tapping into that energy, and she was like, "What do you mean?" And I was like, "Oh, well, I mean, I've noticed, like, I track my energy levels every day, so I notice that around the full moon my energy is like way up, and I'm like, I can handle this, I can conquer this," which is no coincidence because the moon in its full state is in completion. It is full, it is complete, and so we're in this I'm completing things, I got this kind of energy, and then it starts waning. Less and less the moon becomes visible, and I have less and less energy. I'm not saying that it is the moon that's doing it. I'm just saying everything is in cycles, right? Nature is cyclic. So, of course, we experience cycles as well, especially as women. And we can choose to align with those things to honor them. And so, after I get off this call, I am totes going to take a nap. Then I'm going to do afternoon feeding for my horses, and then probably wind down and spend the afternoon reading. And what a perfect day for it here in Michigan. It is cloudy, windy, and rainy with the occasional white crap falling from the sky that I'm pretending doesn't exist because that is what I do. So, how's it going, guys? Let's talk about our little training that we have today. Why are your horses still struggling after they get massage? Like, here I am, I'm in here, and I'm telling you how fucking magical massage is, how powerful body work is, and yet I know that some of you have had this experience where you're like, I called the body worker and it didn't make a difference. I should probably check. I forgot. I was just diving right in. I called the body. Yep. Okay. That's all we need to know was that you could hear me. That's it. So if your body workers come out and they haven't made a difference, two things. First of all, they're probably still awesome. And second of all, they might just not know how to do things correctly because the order of operations matters. How we do things, how we approach this is going to matter. And so, you get your horse massage, some kind of body work done. Chiropractic should always come after massage because these soft tissues actually support and hold in place the skeleton. So if we come in and we try and put the skeleton back in place and the soft tissues are still tense and pulling things out of alignment, your chiropractic isn't going to be as effective. Okay. It's not going to last as long. It's going to be harder on the chiropractor and more importantly, harder on your horse. Their soft tissues are going to suffer for it. So chiropractic is not what I'm talking about when I say you get body work done on your horse, but it definitely is important. So you get your massage done. You get some maybe myofascial release or cranial sacral therapist or whatever. You have somebody come out. Of course, I'm a little biased. I think that practitioners should have all those things. That's why we teach all those things in intuitive equine bodywork certification. But what happens is you get this work done and then your horse feels good. And you're like, oh, great, this is great. And then, 5 days later, a week later, a month later, definitely a month later, you're right back where you started. The tension's back. Whatever behavior led you to make the phone call is back. And you're like, what the fuck? Obviously. And your answer is usually that the massage isn't going to work. Massage isn't the answer. We've tried massage and it didn't work. Okay. Here's the problem with that. The problem is that when you do one session and then you come back in a month, all you did was surface level work. All that massage therapist did was rub some painful spots, release some things temporarily, and start to give your horse what it would feel like to have a better, more effective body, to get back to where their body was meant to be performing from. However, from that place, we're not going to get to the solution. One massage a month is not going to do it. And this usually ruffles some feathers when I say if you're paying for your horse to get a massage a month, you're wasting your money. Now, for anybody that's my client, they're like, what, bitch? I pay you for one massage a month. I'm not talking to you because we started differently. And if I said to you, this isn't working for your horse, you'd be like, okay. And we would move forward and we would put more sessions in there to effectively help your horse change. If you are working with me and we've gotten to the point of monthly maintenance, this doesn't apply to you. Okay? Okay? Monthly maintenance is good when we've done what we needed to do to get to monthly maintenance. Okay? I'm talking about the people that call a massage therapist for the first time, and that massage therapist comes out and they do one massage and then they come back in a month. like what is happening in that time period is your horse is reverting to the original compensation. Because here's the thing, there's a reason why I teach and why I do 3 sessions in about 14 days. And the reason for that is simple. That's what it takes. That's what it takes to work through layers of compensation so that when I come back a month after that last session, we're not back where we started before the first session. We are still making progress. And not every horse that I work on goes from these 3 sessions in 2 weeks immediately to a month-long maintenance program. That's not always the case. If I start with a horse who's, as we say in the business, a hot mess. I'm sure you guys have used the same phrase, right? If we start with a horse that's a little bit of a hot mess, they got a lot going on, there's a good chance we're going to do 3 sessions in 2 weeks. And I'm going to say, I want to come back in 2 weeks because I want to know if we're regressing. I want to make sure that we're not regressing because that is how we're actually going to save you money. Okay. And the other thing is too, is, we get all of this, time and money and effort, and we're thinking like, oh, massage isn't the answer. And then you go, what? You go spend thousands on different veterinarians, different tests, different, all these things, which is great that we have those options, but you're still not getting answers. Right? And it wasn't that body work didn't work. It's that the person that you had doing the body work didn't understand the order of operations. They didn't understand why it's important to do 3 sessions in 2 weeks. Okay. And what that also hints at, what I'm hinting at here is that when we do those sessions together and we take off the first layer of compensation, we're giving the body a chance to start operating again as it was meant to. And then by the time I come back out for the second session, they usually haven't started regressing at that point, but they're ready to then move forward and learn a little bit more because we can't take all of the compensation off at once. The body isn't prepared for it. We have to remember that when our horses are compensating for something, when we have behavioral issues, when they've had a pain problem, even if the pain has been reconciled, their body doesn't just immediately go back to fully functional because the nervous system has actually rerouted. It has changed the way that it instructs the body to take action. And in that circumstance, we have to start over. We have to clear out that compensation pattern and get the nervous system, the brain back online and a part of the program again. Okay. So when we do 3 sessions in about 2 weeks, we're able to effectively do that. We take off 1 layer of compensation. We give the body some time, the brain some time to communicate with the body and be like, oh, turns out that's coming back online. Cool. We don't have to overwork this muscle group because this muscle group is functioning again. This muscle group is coming back online. And this isn't always as simple as a massage. Okay. This sometimes is, I'm doing osteopathic work, myofascial release, cranial sacral therapy, all of that is bundled into a session when I'm doing this, okay? So your average massage therapist is not going to be able to do what I'm describing to you. Intuitive equine body workers are going to be able to do what I'm describing to you because we cover all of these things, okay? So when we move into that second session, we're not starting where we were before. We're at a deeper level and we can wake up more of the nervous system. We can take off another layer of compensation. We can bring more of the body back online. And also, I can give you rehab exercises, right? You can get some rehab exercises. These aren't usually very complex. They're usually very simple. The body, I always have my clients give the horses from the day of the first massage to the second massage completely off. And then the day after the second massage, we start in some kind of exercise in most cases, not all, but most. We start with some kind of exercise and it's always groundwork. Everybody is underrating the power of groundwork and why groundwork is so crucial. Groundwork is crucial because it helps us to bring the nervous system and the brain back into connection with the body. Because we have to remember that the body is sending more information to the brain than the brain sends to the body. So we have to wake the body up through movement, okay, through body work and movement, wake the body up so that it communicates more clearly with the brain so the brain can have a better understanding of where it is in space. That's proprioception. And that is crucial if you want to start riding. So don't slow down the process and add yourself to your body weight, your balance situations, your body compensations to the equation. Instead, we're going to take our time. We're going to slow down to speed up. This is a 2-week period where we're really honing in on waking the horse's body up and then introducing some groundwork exercises. And then probably some more long-term groundwork exercises, 3 weeks to a month before you ride. And obviously this is going to depend on how severe your horse's case is when I see it. But these are the reasons, though, that you're calling out a body worker and you're getting body work done and your horse is still struggling. The reason is because they're not following the order of operations and they're skipping steps. And they think they're doing you a favor by saying, oh, just one massage a month, so I'm saving you money. It's costing you money. It's costing you time and it's costing you money because you don't have a solution. Okay, so let's talk about this in a easy to understand story. This has happened on multiple occasions. Ironically, I have 2 stories about 2 geldings with the same problem, but different. Like the same. Okay, so in both of these cases, well, the beginning is a little bit different. One gelding is older, and he was doing really well until he wasn't. He got lame. And they spent about 2 years talking to veterinarians and trying to figure out what was wrong. And the veterinarians were like, well, we can't find anything, and we don't even have a specific enough problem to be able to do imaging effectively. So there's nothing we can do. So this owner just did the best she could for a couple of years watching her horse suffer. Like, doing her best pain management, but there's not a whole lot of long-term pain management options out there that aren't going to potentially cause more problems, right? Because when we turn off the nerve sensation for pain, we also turn off the horse's sense of caution about the injury. Okay. So without knowing what it was, couldn't really treat it, couldn't really help the body, but he of course was compensating over time, and his body was getting worse and worse. His stress level was increasing and his ability to function was decreasing. The second story is with a younger gelding, racehorse, very successful champion, and all of a sudden he just, he got through a champion year, he came back a second year, and just wasn't performing. And it doesn't really make sense. It happens sometimes, but it doesn't really make sense. Like, there had to be a reason. And everybody's pulling their hair out. This horse has gone down to Rood and Riddle, seen the top vets in the world, and they're just like, meh, no. And also, they kept saying, same story. We don't even know where to image. We can see what you mean, but he appears to be fairly sound, and there's nothing specific here that we can really pinpoint where we would go in with imaging. So there's nothing we can do. In both cases, they end up calling me. And in both cases, we did a set of 3 massages in 2 weeks. And in both cases, by the time we got through just to the 3rd massage, when I show up for the 3rd massage, I'm like, the root cause of this is not soft tissue in both cases. And in one case I was kind of wrong, but basically the same. I'm like, this is not something massage is going to fix, essentially. And so what I was able to do is, with both of these horses, pinpoint the problem and say, this issue is in the right hind below the hock. That is what I can tell you. You need to get imaging done. And in both cases, veterinarians were like, well, I mean, it seems silly to image it, but okay. It drives me nuts that people have to insist. I want to pay you, take my money. But yeah, so they insist on the imaging. And in the first case where I say I was kind of wrong, because I was like, this isn't a soft tissue issue. It was a soft tissue issue. But it was a hole in the suspensory ligament of the right hind below the hock. Just saying. And they found it through imaging. And we were able to do a little bit more to help encourage healing, right? And then we had a better understanding of what was going to be necessary moving forward with this horse, because he was still going to be compensating through this time. But there were things that we could do to, 1, speed up his healing, 2, make him more comfortable, and 3, address his body over time so that the compensation pattern just didn't keep getting worse. Instead, we could kind of keep him in a comfort zone of functionality, which was necessary because ligaments take a long time to heal, guys. It took him a lot longer than it should have because we weren't able to pinpoint the issue and know that's what we were dealing with. But once we knew, it did take about 8 months, 9 months, 8-9 months, something like that, to get him to the point where finally. And then the other horse, it was actually a break. He had a fracture. He had a fracture of a splint bone on the right hind. And wouldn't have found it without imaging, and I didn't, because this is the thing. So we do this process, right? So I'm like, we do 3 massages in 14 days. And my guarantee on that is, if we haven't solved the pain problem, I can tell you where it's coming from. And we can move forward. We're going to find a solution. But we, 3 massages is what it's going to take for me to either solve it and we move forward, or identify why it hasn't been solved so that we can move forward. Either way, we're moving forward. It's going forward from here. And so in both of those cases, what had happened was the horse regressed. And we did it in such a short time period. It was easy then, because we've taken off these layers of compensation, it was easy to see where the root was. The veterinarians are looking at the surface. They're looking at what the body is presenting when they're called, which is fair. It's what they're asked to do. What I'm doing, what a good massage therapist is going to do, is they're going to come out and they're going to take off a layer of compensation, because the pain pattern is going to change. That first pain pattern that I see is not the same when I come back for massage 2 in most cases. If it is, then I'm like, okay, we're going to take this layer off. It's just another layer of the same pain pattern. And when I come back for massage 3, the pain pattern in massage 3 and massage 1 is always different, unless it's not a soft tissue solvable problem. Like, obviously ligaments are a little bit different. I can't massage a hole out of a ligament, right? But that is the power of this order of operations. That is the power of being able to assess a whole horse. Is we can be like, all right, let's strip off this layer of compensation and see what's underneath it. Either we're going to be able to start strengthening and move forward, or we're going to strip off another layer and we're going to eventually find where this pain started. And that is the power of intuitive assessment strategies. Following a strategy, believing in our intuition, and doing so in a 2-week time period, so that your horse isn't struggling afterwards. So that we're not just throwing money down the fucking drain because we aren't actually finding a solution. And that is exactly what we do inside of Intuitive Equine Bodywork Certification. That is how I train everyone. We learn about how we look at bodies, how we assess the whole horse as opposed to just part of the horse, and really understanding the order of operations and the timeline and what we're actually interacting with every time we massage a horse, because it's not just muscle. Okay. On top of the muscle is the fascial system. We're interacting with the fascial system, but the fascial system is full of nerve endings. Every single massage interaction, every time you pet your horse, every time you brush your horse, that is an interaction with the nervous system. And that really, truly is the basis of intuitive equine bodywork for human and horse. Our nervous systems are wired to pick up on details that consciously we don't understand. But when we trust our intuition to process those things, we end up with solid answers that we can use. And this is what sets this program apart from all other programs out there on the market. Besides the fact that this is the only program out there that is actually going to come with a complete business building program as well. Everything you need to know to set up your business and be successful with it and get clients. Because why would you invest in this kind of information and want to start a business without having that kind of information too? Trust me, I had to do it the hard way. I had to pay for business in addition to paying for learning how to, really assess horses and learn anatomy and all that stuff. This is a one-stop shop. And I know that all of you horsewomen in here are here because you're after real fucking change. You're not here for fucking Band-Aid solutions. You want to be able to create an impact and make a change. And that is done through intuitive work, through intuitive assessment strategies, through intuitive business running strategies, as well as obviously strategy itself. So there you go, guys. That is our 20-minute Tuesday Tales for you today. There's no reason for your horse to be struggling once they have massage. So find yourself a good therapist, or join the Intuitive Equine Bodywork Certification Program so that you can be that good therapist that your horse needs. Okay? All right, guys. I will catch you next week, Tuesday. Have a great week.